Well, it's official. After last night's debate, the Democratic voters themselves are actually pretty worried. An overnight NBC tracking poll says that 49% of Democrats who watched the debate are nervous, concerned, uneasy about what they saw. And they should be.
I'm hearing my name mentioned a little bit tonight. I wonder why. I have opposed authoritarianism all over the world. What I said is what Barack Obama said in terms of Cuba, that Cuba made progress on education. Yes, I think, really? Really?
Bernie Sanders is a communist. He is just an old school, old-fashioned commissar communist. And when he talks tough to Mike Bloomberg, you listen, I am going to serve notice right now on Vladimir Putin that if I become president, you will not mess in any more American elections, period. Yeah, that carries about as much weight as when it was brought to the Obama administration's attention that the Russians were interfering. Barack Obama told Putin, knock it off. Knock it off? Really? That was the might of the American president. Knock it off. It's amazing how they never point out that Donald Trump has hit more sanctions and restrictions against Russia than any other president. That doesn't get talked about. That doesn't get discussed, debated, or spun on the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream propaganda media. And now all of a sudden, they are just shocked that this Democratic socialist, Bernie Sanders, is a breath away from becoming the party's nominee. They tried to rough him up at the debate last night. Didn't work. He did get befuddled. He did get challenged by the audience. But make no mistake about it. You have Chris Matthews, who's, you've got the progressive left now. They're calling for PMSNBC to fire Chris Matthews because he has come right out and said, we cannot have this socialist Bernie Sanders leading the ticket, yada, 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 yada. Okay. But Chris Matthews says his constant defense of Fidel Castro, this is unconscionable. Actually, I got to do this like Chris Matthews. This defense of Castro is indefensible. Now, he admits, Matthews does, that when he was a young man, he supported the Castro revolution, man. Down with the establishment, man. And then what happened? Well, Castro killed everybody, including the people that brought him into power. Because that's what authoritarian dictators do. And they rob everybody of their rights. So now all of a sudden, Chris Matthews has had a come to Jesus moment, which if he has, okay. Churchill once said, if you're not a liberal when you're a young man, you probably don't have a heart. If you're not a conservative by the time you're an old man, you probably don't have a brain. So, okay, we'll let Chris Matthews, I guess, grow a little bit in that area. But Bernie Sanders doubles down now in his support of Fidel Castro.
I have been extremely consistent and critical of all authoritarian regimes all over the world, including Cuba.
Senator Bernie Sanders defended his praise for Fidel Castro.
And he formed the Literacy Brigade. You may read that. They went out and they helped people learn to read and write. You know what? I think teaching people to read and write is a good thing.
The Castro literacy program did teach hundreds of thousands of people to read and write in the 1960s, but it was also used to spread communist propaganda. Democrats like Congresswoman Debbie Murkisell Powell from Florida, a battleground state with a large Cuban-American population, blasted the comments.
Those comments are extremely hurtful to so many people here in my area and very offensive.
Sanders' opponents also sharply criticized him.
Why are we spotlighting the literacy programs of a brutal dictator instead of being unambiguous in our condemnation about the way he has treated his own people?
You got to admit, Mayor Pete makes a great point. We're going to give this guy a pass because he taught his people how to read. You know, I have to say that's tantamount to, well, Hitler wasn't such a bad guy. You know, I get it. You know, they gassed 6 million Jews, but hey, he gave us the Autobahn and the Volkswagen. Doesn't he get a thumbs up for that? Can't we find something to compliment Adolf Hitler about? After all, he's like me. He's a socialist. When they try to make that Trump-Hitler comparison, there's no comparison. Adolf Hitler was a National Socialist, that you needed the government to provide these work programs to stimulate the economy and get the economy moving and to take care of the people and to give the people even an automobile that they could all afford, the Volkswagen, the people's car. Who wants to do stuff like that? Is it Donald Trump that wants to have all kinds of new welfare expansion and programs and give everybody free? Or would that be the Democratic Socialists? Kind of like the National Socialists. Yeah, history and facts, they're nasty little things, aren't they? Because it's, as the Bible says, the truth shall set you free. And that's a double shot of the truth right there. Now, what is really apparent after last night, and I'm not going to go through the entirety of the debate. What's really apparent, they don't want Bernie, not because of his views. Did you notice the other candidates don't really go after Bernie about what he actually believes? They use that word socialist. We can't have a socialist. We can't have a socialist. They never define it. They never go after what the problems are with his ideology. And you know why? Because they all espouse the exact same programs and ideology. They themselves are socialists as well. They're going after Bernie because they know Bernie can't win. Bernie can't win. So, the way they go after him is to just generically talk about, we can't have Bernie, he's a socialist. But you know why they really don't care that he's a socialist? Because every candidate has already committed and stated the number one objective in 2020 is defeating Donald Trump, no matter who's leading the ticket. So in other words, none of these people are, quote, never Bernies. If Bernie gets the nomination, which they're counting on the DNC rigging it and fixing it so that he doesn't, but if God decides to just sort of step in and just to give America a real history lesson and show America a real clear contrast between a capitalist Donald Trump and a communist Bernie Sanders, God has an interesting way of kind of reshuffling the deck and confounding the wise. So if Bernie gets it, all these Democrats have said, well, they'll support whoever the nominee is. Now, if you're really sold on the fact that he's a socialist and that's bad, then I don't care if he is your party's nominee. You don't vote for him. That's called character, conviction, standing by your principles. These are not principled people. They hate, loathe, and despise Donald Trump, traditional America. They want it gone. They want Trump gone. They were succeeding even with other Republican administrations like George W. Bush, who wasn't exactly, the sharpest knife in the drawer. And now all of a sudden, you've got this guy in there who has governed more conservatively than Ronald Reagan ever did. He has been a gift to the faith-based community. And the Democrats see their power, the elites see their power, even the GOP elite sees their power slipping away. So therefore, Donald Trump's got to go. No matter who it is, we got to take out Trump. And the reason they can get behind Bernie if he does become the nominee, they all believe like him anyway. The only reason they're anti-Bernie right now, they don't think the old curmudgeon can win. Because he's very out front and upfront with what he believes. And they know there's hundreds of hours of Bernie giving all kinds of interviews on Vermont cable TV and PBS, etc., where he is espousing, the accolades of having honeymooned and vacation in the Soviet Union and what a swell guy Fidel Castro is. See a Mayor Pete? He believes just like Bernie believes. Only he masks it better. He's got a aw shucks boy next door Boy Scout persona that he hides behind. Alfred E. Newman. Bernie just comes out as the crazy old curmudgeon. There's no difference on that platform in what any of these people believe. But Bernie, they feel, because he's so overt about it, that Donald Trump will be able to give clear contrast, and the American people will overwhelmingly reject it. But if they can get a Mayor Pete or somebody up there, well, they're just likable enough that, you know what, let's give them a chance. That's their thought train in all of this. So, it shall be interesting going forward. By the way, it's interesting if you go on YouTube and try to Google, or I should say YouTube search for the highlights last night. It's amazing. Every major media outlet from CNN to NBC to CBS, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of positive footage of Joe Biden. Bloomberg, you're done. You told some jokes last night that just fell absolutely as flat as a fart in church on Sunday morning. Nobody laughed. Nobody chuckled. You didn't grossly embarrass yourself this time. But again, you don't have it. You can't buy it. You ain't got it. You don't have charisma. You don't have a personality. America is not all that into you. Go away. You're now being viewed by the vast majority of Americans, including those within the Democratic Party. You're like Hillary Rotham Clinton. Just please, in God's name, go away. The only place Mike Bloomberg got overwhelming, glowing video clips of how awesome he did in the debate last night, Bloomberg TV. Gee, I wonder why. That said, Bernie, look out. They're coming for you. They are. And not because you're a socialist, because I know part of you're up there. What is this? I don't understand this. Barack Obama said what I said. I don't. Why are you in the crowd mad at me? Why are my fellow candidates? Why are you attacking me? What? I've been saying these things for years and you haven't said nothing. Because you never been the front runner and ready to run away with all of it before. And I think what really has befummoxed Bernie, he has talked to all these people. He knows all these people. He knows they agree with him. And they're going to do variations of what he is proposing. He knows it. They just cover it better than he does. Because if they really wanted to take Bernie out, well, why don't they go after, okay, yeah, you're talking about free college. But what about what your wife did to a university that had ended up going bankrupt and you guys end up with 3 houses? How'd that happen? It's getting interesting. And Bernie, the old commissar, I think after Super Tuesday, because by the way, this didn't do anything to erode him last night, but looking at all the positive media spin on Biden, the establishment has regrouped. And they've decided that Biden did well enough last night, he'll be the face. They don't care if Biden loses. In fact, they know, barring an absolute catastrophe, which they're hoping the coronavirus becomes a virus to the economy so that there's a recession, then maybe that way they can get Trump out. Other than that, they know they can't beat Trump. I said this yesterday. So now it's picking the candidate to represent them to go down in flames. And yeah, old Joe, he's expendable. And he did well enough last night to say, all right, he's lived another day. If he can pull off the South Carolina primary, you watch how fast the establishment money and everybody circles around him, and he becomes the guy to take on Bernie on Super Tuesday. Mark my words. And even if he doesn't do well Super Tuesday, if he can stay coherent in these debates, they will figure out a way to give him the delegates and make him the nominee. Hey, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up and a like. Please share this video. Help us get our subscriptions up. Check your status. Make sure you've smacked the bell, and I'll catch you next time.